I see. Thank you, Scott Jameson, tinkling the little keys over there. That's awesome. Good morning, Unity Spokane. Welcome. Good morning. How are we doing today? I love people that brave the snow. So for those of us olds, right? Remember the scene in White Christmas at the end where they open the doors and it's snowing? That's why I always feel when I come to church. And no, we wish we could open the curtains. And you see the snow, it's just magical. And that's what's happening. So for those of you online, if you're seeing snow, just imagine the magic of snow in the background, and it's wonderful. We're thankful that you're tuned in and joined us here. We're thankful for those of you that have braved the weather to get out today. It's awesome. I was talking with Daniel, one of our new people, and I was just telling him how much I appreciate the seasons. So anyways, welcome to Unity Spokane, where our mission is transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. I'm Jeff Tawney. I'll be your platform assistant this morning. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones, and that would be very much appreciated. As always, we want to begin with our time together by sharing our opening affirmation. Together we affirm, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good. This is Unity's foundation principle. One presence, one power, one life, living through and as each one of us. This morning, we are blessed by our spiritual leader, Reverend Barnard, who will talk about loving life itself. Our music today is provided by our Unity Choir, our own Scott Jameson, and special guests, the ukuleles. Heather and Teen, right? Yeah. Yep, okay, got it right. So they'll be up to join us, be up as well. Okay, so will you now please stand, and we do our community song will be led by our Unity Choir and followed by Marlene Locke, who will do our reading this morning.
Your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. If you see it's getting late, please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, as the world will be a better place for you.
Good morning again. This reading is taken from This Thing Called Life by Dr. Ernest Holmes. There's a universal wholeness seeking expression through everything. We are calling it simply life. The religionist calls it God. The philosopher calls it reality. Life is infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. It is the invisible essence and the substance of every visible form. Its nature is goodness, truth, wisdom and beauty, as well as energy and imagination. Our highest satisfaction comes from a sense of conscious union with this invisible life. All human endeavor is an attempt to get back to the first principles, to find such an inward wholeness that all sense of fear, doubt, and uncertainty vanishes. The science of mind is merely one of the tools we use in giving expression to life principle. Our greatest satisfaction lies not in the fact that we can use this principle, but in the realization that such a power exists and that we are one with it. If we carry a light into a darkened room, the darkness is dissipated without effort on our part. So it is the experience of one who has a deep consciousness of life. Something invisible but all-penetrating will flow through this every look and gesture. People will feel better by sitting in his presence. Healing will take place automatically. The Divine Spirit is not a mythical, abstract being living somewhere above this earth. God is a divine presence revealing himself to everyone who believes. Where God is recognized, there is life. And now please join me in prayer. How wonderful it is to know that God is not a separate entity above or away from me. The allness and wholeness of God is everywhere present. It goes by many names, and today we call it life with a capital L. The life force that is in action through and as my body temple. This life force breathes my body, moves my body, coordinates all action within my body, and allows me to be alert and to awaken to the goodness of life. So today we celebrate this energy. Today we celebrate life. Today we give thanks that we are right here and right now. And we open to anticipate the goodness and the glory of God to flow to us and through us. We'll give thanks for everything in our lives, knowing that no matter how we perceive it, it is of God. It is of good. And so it is. Amen.
Yay. Yes, it's a good day for singing a song, and it's a good day for moving along. Yes, it's a good day. How could anything go wrong? It's a good day from morning till night. Yes, it's a good day for shining your shoes, and it's a good day for losing those blues. Everything to gain and nothing to lose, 'cause it's a good day from morning till night. I said to the sun, good morning, sun. Rise and shine today. You know you got to get it going if you're gonna make a showing. You know you've got the right away, 'cause it's a good day for paying your bills, and it's a good day for curing your ills.
special request, a new verse.
Okay.
It's a good day to be in the snow. It's a good day to feel God's flow.
Cause it's a good day to be in the snow, and it's a good day to feel God's flow. Yes, it's a good day to be in the snow. Yeah, it's a good day to be in God's flow. Yes, it's a good day to be in God's flow. 'Cause it's a good day to be in God's flow.
The ukuleles. The ukuleles. Good morning. Good morning to all of you here, and good morning to those of you online. Many of our congregation fled to the warmth this month, and I kept thinking, why? It's February. Why would anybody leave in February? And then I woke up this morning. So for all of you who are part of our congregation and traveling, and those of you who aren't welcome online, we are so glad you're here. We feel you. We know you're here. And for all of us in presence, we get bonuses in heaven, you guys. This is amazing. Okay, so today we're going to talk about loving life. And life is one of the 12 powers of Charles Fillmore, and life, according to Fillmore, has to do with our ability to regenerate and to increase our vitality and to connect with that inner presence that lives us. That inner presence that lives us. So today we're going to talk about loving this thing that we call life. And as I sat down in my meditation chair yesterday and asked the divine presence of flow what was mine to say today, of course, the very first thing that came to my mind was the scripture, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And so I pulled that up and read that parable. And I'm going to paraphrase the parable, but what the parable basically says is that the consciousness of Christ is like a shepherd. And it says, in the parable, Jesus said, I am the shepherd. So it's about that I am consciousness, the I am consciousness of Christ, okay? And we all know that Christ is not a person. It's an energy field, meaning the anointed one. It exists in all major world religions, but with different flavors. So it could be Buddha mind. It could be infinite spirit. It can be whatever name you want to call it. But in our Christian Bible, it comes through as Jesus the Christ. So the Christ consciousness says, I am the I am, and I am a shepherd. And it says in that parable, and that's different than most of you. He said you, but I'm going to say most of you, because I'm going to give some of us, just some space there. But he says it's like most of you who have not yet come to Christ consciousness. And that energy is like a thief in the night. The energy of the unawakened individual is like a thief, which means that they think life is about taking. Life is about getting. Life is about consuming. Life is it's limited, it's finite. And then it says in the parable, but you come to me and I have abundant life. You enter that consciousness of the Christ, and you end up being able to multiply. Okay, so you're going from a consciousness of trying to get to being a consciousness of multiplication. That is a completely different way of being on this planet and in this world. And so the parable is saying, look, you open to live from that flow within you, and you will have life and you will have it more abundantly. Which leads me to one of the stories I want to share today about Buckminster Fuller. How many of you are familiar with him? Also known as Bucky. Okay, great. This is really fantastic. So So Buckminster Fuller is most well known for his creation of the geodescent dome, but he held 27 different patents. He was a futurist, and he had decided one day to sit down and to map out all of the food sources in the world. Wouldn't that be a fun activity? And when he did that, he noticed there was enough food for all of humanity, and the problem was distribution. Brilliant mind, brilliant mind. So part of his life's work was trying to figure out distribution so that everyone might be fed. He brought into our vocabulary words such as the noosphere, such as synergy, such as spaceship Earth. And I learned of him and his work through studying with Mark Victor Hansen and through studying with Mary Ann Williamson. They were both students of his. And I shared this last summer the story of meeting a very influential person who told me that his hero in life was John Denver. And I shared that story with you and said that John Denver had gotten together with a think tank group of people to say, how can we, and they did this in silence behind closed doors without notoriety, and they got together and they said, how can we influence and change the environment for the better by just making little changes in a big way? And Buckminster Fuller was part of that think tank. And one of the things that they came up with was not washing our towels every single day in hotel rooms, or our towels or our sheets, saving all kinds of toxic water flow into our environment. So they came up with little things done on a big scale that could change our experience of our world. So towards the end of his life, he was making, in today's dollars, $1 million a year, but he funneled all of the money he made back into his inventions. But the story I want to tell you today was in 1972, several years after his young 4-year-old daughter died of spinal meningitis and polio. He was extraordinarily depressed. And he was drinking heavily, and he decided he wanted to take his life. And so he went to Lake Michigan and was going to jump. And his thinking was he couldn't keep a job. And he thought, if I died, I could leave my life insurance to my wife, and she could take better care of the kids than I can being alive. And so he was getting ready to jump, and then he felt this white light all around his body temple, and that white light spoke to him, and it said this, that's up there on the screen. From now on, you need never await temporal attestation to your thought. You think the truth. You do not have the right to eliminate yourself. You do not belong to you. Don't you love that? Say that with me. You do not belong to you. Wow. You belong to the universe. You belong to the universe. Your significance will remain forever obscure to you, which means that none of us really know our significance, even if we think we might. We'll never really know our significance. But you may assure that you are fulfilling your role if you apply yourself to converting your experiences to the highest advantage of others. Okay, so who knows the word attestation? Oh, yes. I'm going to call on you. Okay. What's the definition of attestation? Okay. So the word attestation means evidence or proof. So this says, from now on, you never need to wait for evidence or proof of your thought. How powerful is that? Because the deal is when the presence of God comes and speaks through us, it is new. So something new does not have evidence of thought. So he connected with that Christ consciousness. We're going to use that word today. He connected with his Christ consciousness when he experienced that divine light. And it told him, don't look for proof and evidence of what is revealed to you. And I say, because it won't be there, it is new. And then it goes on to say, and you don't belong to yourself. You belong to the world. And so he came to believe that he was part of an evolutionary unfoldment of the planet. So what if each one of us here in this room is a part of an evolutionary unfoldment of the planet, and we don't belong to ourselves? The gifts, the talents, the inspirations, the presence that we are isn't ours. It is divine presence itself, and it is ours to use, as it says here in this quote, for the highest advantage of others. So here was a man, 27 years old, his daughter died, he was depressed, he was drinking, and he thought killing himself would bring more money to his family than he ever could because he couldn't hold a job. And he has this revelation, and by the time he dies, he's bringing in $1 million a year, but he's not keeping it for himself. He's reinvesting it so that the world can have a different experience of itself. That is powerful. And so, without any kind of public relations or marketing support, he would eventually be mentioned in over 100,000 articles, books, and broadcasts. In the last 20 years of his life, he circled the globe 47 times. So here's somebody who thinks he doesn't have worth, and he surrenders to the thing itself, life. And all of a sudden, he's written up in 100,000 different articles, and he travels 47 times around the globe because his voice is wanted to be heard. He spoke to 30,000 students, and 2 of his students, as I mentioned, were Marianne Williamson and Mark Victor Hansen, both who I studied with. And so they passed it on to me. See how life works? It like keeps going. And he was a master inventor. And many of you don't know, but my dad was a patent attorney, so I would go into his office and see all of his inventions, and it just brought me so much joy to know that out of nothing came something, and it would change the world. And this summer, we're gonna have the talk series, and the first, in June, we're gonna look at music that has transformed our world. In July, we're gonna look at movies that have transformed our world, and in August, we're gonna look at inventions. And so maybe Bucky Fuller will make his way back around, I'm not sure. So Fuller made the decision that he would no longer earn a living in the traditional sense, but he would follow his inner guidance and trust that the universe will provide. Reframed by me, this means that life gives us skill, talent, mental capacity, physical structure, curiosity, intuition, interest, and vitality. If we use who we are for the benefit of humanity, we are untethered and unlimited. Now, one of my favorite teachers, Dr. John DeMartini, uses this quote, and I'm not sure I got it right, but it's kind of right. And it's really important. It's one that I've carried around inside of me for 20, 25, 30 years, for a long time. And it talks about that wherever you are in your life, whatever you want to influence, you need to think one sphere larger. So his quote goes something like this: if you want to make a difference in your family's life, then you must play at the level of the community. If you want to make a difference at the community or city level, then you must be thinking like the state. If you want to be having an impact with the state, then you're looking at country thinking, worldwide nation thinking. If you're wanting to impact your nation, then the thought, your experience, your commitment must be global. If you want a global impact, then we think cosmically. And where this is important is that our mission statement, Jeff, he tells me this all the time, our mission statement does not say that we're here to inspire people on 29th and Barnard Street in Spokane, Washington. Jeff said, our mission statement says the world. So if we are here to make an impact on the world, then we are asking ourselves to think, experience life, make a contribution cosmically. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, great. So what gets in the way of this? Control. If we have, and where does control come from? Fear. Okay? So if we think we know how to do our life better than the divine presence, and we try to control our lives and the outcomes of our lives and the people around us in our lives, oh, this cannot happen. It requires surrender. And I invite each one of us to practice just little by little surrendering something. We are in the season of Lent, aren't we? Oh, my invitation to you is to look at when you become adamant inside of yourself and you must have something your way, to stop and to breathe and look what's underneath that running you. That would be my invitation, is that control cannot give us the life that Buckminster Fuller had. It can't. Control can't get us in 100,000 articles written about us. Control can't get us around the globe 47 times in 10 years. That can't happen. That happens from the divine spirit within that is opening doors magically for us. It is a different level of consciousness. It's the Christ consciousness that brings abundance. It is not the thief consciousness that wants to get. So fear is underlying control. When we did our visioning at the center here, which I loved so much, one of the questions is, what do I need to release or to transform in order that we can have the vision of the center that we desire here? And about 90% of people answered fear. In order for us to have that bigger life operating through us, what needs to be released is fear. But this is what I want to tell you. I want to tell you that fear, in the context in which we're speaking, is not real. What it is, it's a hitting up against a pattern within our consciousness. So fear is when we hit the edge of a pattern that we have in consciousness, but spiritual living is about going underneath that pattern, destroying that pattern, creating a new pattern, or allowing the presence of God to pattern through us. So when we touch that fear, it's our opportunity to surrender to God and say, what am I to do right now that will help this pattern dissipate? What am I to do that will allow me to come from a place of freedom instead of coming from a place of fear? Here's a quote that I heard this week that I love so much, and this is the full quote. The full quote is, "There is a freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky, and you ask, what if I fall? Oh, but darling, what if you fly?" Let me say that again. There's a freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky, and you ask, what if I fall? Oh, but darling, what if you fly? And this quote comes from Marianne Williamson. I believe most of you probably know it, but again, she was a student of Buckminster Fuller. So I like to think that his consciousness impacted hers. And she says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Tap into that power within you for a minute. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give permission to others to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So beautiful. So I saw a movie this week that I am giving as an assignment for all of you to go see. Like I have that authority, just saying. But I would like to recommend a movie. It's called Living, and it's playing down at the Magic Lantern. And it has Bill Nighy in it, who is hilarious. And the movie shows how one man can influence an entire community, and it is well worth going to see. So, how do we demonstrate love with life? First of all, We recognize what we love. And this would be like all of us, I'm guessing, when we saw the first movie of Avatar and they said, "Oh, you see me?" We're like, "Oh, that's like, right? Right? Oh, yeah. It's beautiful." So we recognize what it is that we love. I have a friend who, when she has an experience that she thoroughly loves and enjoys, she says, "God, I want more of that." And she places her order. I think that's so great. She's, "God, that was wonderful. I want more of that." So it is seeing and recognizing what it is that we love. And for some people, this can be their garden. And for some people, it can be taking a beautiful walk in nature. It can be another person. It can be the experience of being fully alive. But it is recognizing that state. Recognizing the aliveness state and loving it. And we love it by recognizing it. The next thing is that we listen to the wants or the needs of our beloved. And this is where our earth team listens, for example, to how the earth calls them forward into action. So loving life does not have to be another person. It can be our pet. It can be an experience. And in the case of our earth care team, they recognize that the earth is talking to them and saying, "Here is how I want you to help support me in staying healthy." And then they bring that message out to the community. It can be, we can then experience an open and symbiotic exchange with that we love, right? So what is really lovely is to be standing in front of another human being and just allowing yourself to feel your energy of your heart go to them and their energy of their heart come to you, and this just beautiful flow. And if you don't feel safe doing it with another human being, doing that with a beautiful plant, and now research has shown us that plants grow better when we love them. When we play good music to them, when we sing to them and talk to them, they flourish. This life energy wants to flourish. It wants to grow. It wants to be potent. And it's always green and tender on the edges. You know, it has that vulnerable feel to it. And that's where we can't control and be vulnerable at the same time. So we trust that life force within another or within the invisible. We surrender to our own intuitive knowing. We become aware of the shared life force and start looking for it. That would be another good Lent practice, is to surrender often and to start looking for where the life force exists in your life, in the community of your life. And then there is some kind of, there's some kind of special awareness that happens when we get that all of it's temporary. You know, like when sometimes I'll hear a song that I love so much and I'll say, there'll be a day I won't hear that again. There'll be a day I don't have ears and I won't hear that again. Like, this is a moment to take this in, make a note. You know, I wasn't too thrilled to wake up to snow this morning. And I said, "Okay, Bonnie, you can love the snow. You can fight the snow. It's not going anywhere, but you can fight it. Or you could just let it be. You could acknowledge it, whatever." And I kind of did this weird thing with it where I said, "Okay, I'm going to love it." But then I wore shoes that aren't snow-worthy. So I'm not really quite sure what all of that means. But the awareness was there that even the snow is temporary, that it will be short-lived, which brings me to mentioning that Amber's going to be teaching a class starting next week on unlearning what we've learned about death. And all spiritual teachers say we become more alive the more we're in relationship with death, what we call death, right? With the body laying down with the temporary forms. So I invite you to think about signing up for that. All right. Oh, you can't see that yet. So I'm going to close with a final story, and that is that my best friend, her husband had died when he was 49 or 50, And I went to his funeral in Seattle at the church I grew up in, the Episcopal church that I grew up in. So beautiful and so ornate. And there was maybe 100, 150 people attending this service. And it was time to do the altar call where people went up for communion. And it was a rainy Seattle day. People were all dressed in dark clothing. And they were going up, and I just kind of scanned the community. I just kind of scanned the room. And there was no energy. It was like people were there, but they weren't alive. It was one of, you know, when you have one of those moments of awareness, you're kind of like, this is really interesting. So I'm scanning as people are doing the motions, but not really there. And then all of a sudden, it's like everything was monochrome. And then all of a sudden, a woman goes up to receive communion, and she's in Technicolor. And her energy's all over the place, and she's active and alive. And I went, ooh, that's curious. So afterward, we went to the reception hall to have some food and to celebrate his life. And I went up to her and I said, do you have any idea how alive you are? And she said, yes, I do. And I loved that. I loved that. Please, if somebody asks, please have somebody ask you if you're alive. Please have someone ask you. And then say, yes, I know I'm alive. And so I asked this woman, I said, do you know how that happened? And she said, yes. And she was someone I knew, but she had a store outside of Seattle about an hour away. And she made lotions and creams and soap. She made this whole handmade line. And she decided that she was going to open a store in downtown Seattle, and she was frightened. She was so scared to go to that big city, but she knew she had to open the store in Seattle. So she has this store in downtown, and she needs a ladder to get up and to wipe the window up top. And one of her neighbors, the storefront neighbors, comes over with a ladder and shares it with her. And then another storefront person comes over and says, we're so glad you're here. I brought you a latte and I brought you a muffin. You know, I got it at the shop down the way. And someone else came in and said, oh my God, we're gonna mark it for you. We're gonna cross mark it. And she had the epiphany. She told me, oh, you don't get the epiphany. I realized people are good, and it changed my entire life. Isn't that lovely? So, I am going to know for each one of us that we have some epiphany moment during Lent that awakens us to the big life. And that those of us who live in the big life, there's always more. That's the thing, you're never done in a spiritual unfolding, ever. So how lovely it is to know that there's more. So let's meditate and enter into that space together. And just know that whether we are in a state of depression and drinking too much, like Buckminster Fuller was, or whether we are alive in spirit, that wherever we are on the spectrum, God is. Right where you sit, God is. I invite you to feel your feet on the floor. I invite you to feel the holiness of the ground underneath you. And I just invite you to imagine that every portal in your body that is energetically fed by the light of God is open right now. And that you can feel the divine presence within you and around you. And I invite you to take in the idea that you do not belong to yourself, that you belong to the higher self of God within you. And whoever's sitting next to you, whoever's online, whoever's listening to my voice, also is part of this divine presence, expressing itself, not here for their ego, but here for the master consciousness of God's good to be in operation through them. And so let's just invite in 1 or 2% of more aliveness into our body temples. A little bit goes a long way. And let's just accept together that this week, as we go about our life, that the presence of God is going to surprise us, and we will see it, we will recognize it, we will know it, and we will symbiotically connect with it. And so I give thanks in advance that the goodness of God is always present, and so I can count on it surprising you. And right now in your meditation, accept that you're willing to be surprised, that you're willing to receive more life, if you are, and that you're willing to play around with the concept of loving life as it presents itself to you and through you. And say with me, and so it is. Amen. And we're about to have a rousing song here really soon, and so just so we can kind of titrate up, I just want you to take a moment and turn to your neighbor and just say, I'm so glad you're here today. And say, I'm glad you belong to the universe. I'm glad you belong to the universe. All right, and it's time for a song, right? All right, and we get the ukuleles again.
Sorry, no, it's meditation. Right. Meditation's almost. Yeah, almost there. They're doing the offering. Yes.
Okay.
We're flowing.
As you can tell, we're kind of a freewheeling bunch here. So the choir is actually just scattered among you all. So asking my support from my choir here on this particular number, because apparently my soloist got snowed in. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall
was probably supposed to come before my meditation, maybe? I'm not sure, but it was beautiful. Thank you so much. I love that. Okay, there's the meditation slide. All right. I love how God works. It's so beautiful. All right. And thank you, Scott. So if we could get the ushers to come forward, and it's so great to see Alan Vidal today. That brought me a lot of joy. And it's time for our giving. And if you are online, you can text or donate your amount to 509-215-2552. And that's on our screen. You can also mail a check to Unity Spiritual Center Spokane at 2900 South Barnard with an E, Spokane, Washington, 99203. And for those of us here, we get to participate in the sacred act of giving together. And so whether you give through your bank account regularly, which the center thanks you for, and you put one of these in the basket, we just give you thanks in advance. And for those of you who don't pick these up and you're an auto giver, an auto tither, I invite you to start picking it up so you can have that experience of feeling the givingness. And maybe you don't need this to experience that, but I like it. And it's time to just check in and decide what amount Divine Spirit wants to give through you. Buckminster Fuller made sure that he gave away and used all of his resources every single month so he could watch the universe replenish him. Wow. Wow. All right, so let's say our prayer together. All right. My giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. I would like to invite you to participate in the spiritual act of giving. I invite you to go within to your abundant self and ask what is yours to give today. And once you know and have clarity, there are 3 different ways that you can give. One is old school. Send a check to Unity Spiritual Center Spokane, 2900 South Barnard Street, Spokane, Washington, 99203. The other is more contemporary. It's text to donate, 509-215-2552. That's 509-215-2552. And the third way is to go to our website, unityspokane.org, and in the upper right corner there is a button that says donate. Click on that and follow it through. Whatever you give today, we are grateful and we thank you. Attention on the gifts and the giving as they make their way up to the stage. And so I just give thanks that the presence of God shows up in so many ways. It shows up as each one of us. It shows up as our giving nature. It shows up as this wonderful music that comes through Scott and through the ukuleles and through the choir and through Al. And I just give thanks that each one of us made it here today and made it online, and that the goodness and glory of life continues to expand. I bless this money. I know it is used to pay for this building, for our staff. It's used to multiply programs, take care of children. It is used for such high and holy purposes, and for this I give thanks. And so it is. Amen.
There's a dark and troubled side of life. There's a bright, there's a sunny side too. Though we meet with the darkness and strife, the sunny side we also may view. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day, it will brighten all the way, if we keep on the sunny side of life. Well, the storm and its fury broke today, crushing hopes that we cherish so dear. Clouds and storms will in time pass by, the sun again will shine bright and clear. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day, it will brighten all the way, if we keep on the sunny side of life. Let us greet with a song of hope each day, though the moment be cloudy or fair. Let us trust in our Savior always, who keepeth everyone in his care. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day, it will brighten all the way, if we keep on the sunny side of life. Oh, keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. Ooh, it will help us every day, it will brighten all the way, if we keep on the sunny side of life. If we keep on the sunny side of life. If we keep on the sunny side of life.
Hey, new verse.
All right, we're ready.
I was going to say, keep on the snowy side of life. That's our verse for the day. All right, everybody stand. I'm calling an audible. Everybody stand. In light of our message, what if we all said, on a count of three, I am alive? I am alive. On a count of three. One, two, three. I am alive! Now, while you're standing, our unity statement. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know that there is only one power, one presence, and one life. So whoever you are or wherever you are on your spiritual transformation, you are welcomed here. You all may be seated. Thank you. Yay! Thanks for rolling with it, guys. We'd like to recognize our first-time guests. So is there anybody here that ventured out in the snow and is here for us for the first time? No? I do want to acknowledge a new member that joined us and came all the way from Rathdrum today. Right? Like in the snow, I'm thinking, she came all the way from, Christy, would you just stand? Got to meet Christy on our video call this past week, and it was wonderful. And then when I saw her, it's like, you're from Rathdrum. She goes, yeah, I'm from Alaska. I'd come on snowmobile if I had to. So. Thank you. Okay, for those of you, if you are joining us for the first time and we're a little shy about raising your hand, we appreciate that you're here. You may go to the barista afterwards. We have a free gift for you in the form of a coffee, free drink. So by all means, head over there and let them know that you're a guest, or just say, hey, drinks on you, or drinks on Jeff. Just tell them drinks on Jeff if you don't want to acknowledge that you're a free drink, and I'll square up with them later. Anyways, we thank you for being here. We welcome you. Anyone that may be in our online community that is tuning in or clicking in for the first time, we want to thank you also for joining us. Even if you're watching this a week later, we're thankful that you're here. If you are new and you want to learn more about Unity, you can either scan that barcode on your phone, or you can go to unityspokane.org and sign up there, and you can sign up for our newsletter. It'll talk about upcoming talks, events that are going on, classes, Amber's classes coming up, and some other things. So be sure to check that out. You can also connect with us on social media, Instagram, YouTube, as well as join the Unity Spiritual Center to find us. And we thank you. Our chaplains today are Murphy and David Lineweber, who have been holding space and prayer for us today. Murphy happens to be here in service, so Murphy, thank you. And David is holding space for us. Yes. Murphy will be available after service, so if you have a prayer need or you just need somebody to talk to, please feel to come up after the service. She'll be up here, and she'll be, happy to pray for you. You can also, in the seat pocket, you can also pull a card and fill out a prayer request. They go in the little box in the back. Your prayer requests are prayed for locally here for 30 days, and then they get sent to Silent Unity, where they're also prayed for an additional period of time. So just know that we take those requests seriously. We thank you so much for trusting those things with us. Okay, so without further ado, we know what time it is. Amber McKinsey time, or news you can use.
Good morning, everyone. First thing that we really want to emphasize is that today is our annual meeting. Woohoo! Yay! So there's quite a few of you in here. Some were not able to come because of the snow, but after services, please join us for soup lunch, sponsored by the YOU, and that is by Love Offering. So do have some lunch first, and then we will meet back in here at 11:45 to conduct our annual meeting. Very official. And then the next thing I want to share is that we have a new time for our pre-service meditation. That will be at 9:30 in the chapel. So please come at 9:30 if you are interested in that. It goes from 9:30 to 9:50, and it started today. So next week, 9:30 for our pre-service meditation. Okay, and then we have Reverend Bonnie is doing an affirmative prayer refresher class. It's a one-time class on Wednesday, March 1st. That's this Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. in the chapel. And this is if you have already taken her affirmative prayer class, or you've taken another affirmative prayer class, maybe that's Unity related. Please feel free to join that class. And again, you can sign up online through eNews, or you can come see me or Deanna and we can help you with that as well. Okay, next we've got the Crystal Alchemy Sound Bath with Amy Ujala. It's an amazing experience, so if you have not had a sound bath yet, you need to do it. And that is happening this Saturday, March 4th, from 3 to 4 p.m. here at Unity. I think it's happening in the chapel. It's here. Okay, so it's in the sanctuary, and it's only $25, and it's really, really transformational, amazing healing work. So please, if you have not done it, or if you have, and you need it again, please join us on Saturday, March 4th. Again, you can sign up online through eNews, or come see me or Deanna. We can help you. Okay, and then we have, oh, what's this? This is a class that I will be teaching called Unlearning Death. And this is a class that is meant to create, as Reverend Bonnie said, it's to create that powerful relationship with death that is unique to you and your experience. Because every single person in here has had a different experience with death, whether it's death of the loved ones or, just our own fear around death. And so this class is meant to really unlearn the things that we think are true about death and to create a greater resonance and connection to life. So if you are interested, that will be Wednesdays starting March 8th. So not this next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that, 4 Wednesdays, and that will be here as well in the chapel, starting at 5:15 p.m. So if you are interested, please look at e-news. There's more information there, and then also you can sign up there or with me or Deanna, and we will help you. We have one other class to announce, Heal Your Life Workshop. This is with Catherine Dietz. This is a 6-week series, so a little bit longer, and that will begin Tuesday evenings in the chapel starting March 14th. And that'll go from 6 to 8 p.m. And more information about that class is also through e-news, so do check that out. And if you have any questions or you would like to sign up, please see me or Deanna, or do it through e-news. Okay, and I think our kids are here, so that's it for me.
Thanks, Amber. Looking forward to your class, too, by the way. All right, our kids are here. We know what to do, right? We welcome them with that song, that beautiful song on ukulele. We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light, in the light of God.
In the light, 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 in the light of God. We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light of God.
Welcome, kids and young adults. We're glad you're here. Youth, okay. Yeah, so how'd we do today? I know the youth, you guys are busy, so I know you got an announcement, right?
Yes.
Why don't you come up? Ella?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hi. So today we have our soup sale out in the atrium area. One housekeeping thing. If you made a kind of meatball-looking soup, we need to see you because we don't know what's in it. So thank you. Okay, so please come see us in the kitchen area after service. But other than that, we have so many amazing soups out there. We had more than we expected. So come try them out.
Hey Ella, why are we doing a soup lunch?
Oh, we're doing a soup lunch because we're gonna go to kids camp and we're also gonna go to rally. So we're fundraising.
And just so you know, if you made the soup, the reason why they need to know is if it's gluten-free, if there's anything in there. So it's not a matter of we don't trust you. It's a matter we can. It's only a matter we can make sure that it's who the people can eat it. Okay, children's blessing. We know what to do, right? Together we say, "Be the love you are, sing the song you hear, share your joy of life with people far and near." For ourselves, be the love we are, sing the song we hear, share our joy of life with people far and near. Thank you, kids and young adults, and you may return to your loved ones. And now, if you'll all stand and join me in our prayer for protection. Together we affirm, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God fuels us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well, and that's the truth.